Welcome to Truth, Money, and Freedom. Today is Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. A story here that leads into a larger commentary, but basically it's about Uber drivers go on strike one day ahead of giant IPO. And this story came out today. And it's talking about how drivers are just not making enough money. Um, and Lyft has the same problem. In fact, I saw several stories across the internet in the last 3 months, I would say, where those who drive for Lyft or Uber, basically after the cost of gasoline and after the wear and tear on the vehicle, they're making about $3 to $4 per hour. Doing the Lyft thing, doing the taxi service thing, and it actually leads to a much larger argument. It's not, and I'm not going to get into how incredibly overvalued these IPOs are, these initial public offerings on their stocks. That is a story all on its own. But I wanted to get into something that's actually much more fundamental, which is nominal confusion. Um, this is why the middle class, is going extinct in America. And by the way, when I use the word extinct, I use it very deliberately. It's easy to explain why, however, it's hard to wrap your head around if you're not familiar with the concept. So here's the problem in America: a dollar is worth a dollar. It'll always be worth a dollar. You'll always be able to buy a dollar's worth of stuff with a dollar bill, right? Well, that's not true. The dollar is actually worth 3.7 cents. This is what we call nominal confusion. Because it's a dollar and it has, the actual value of $1 printed on the $1 bill, we just assume that it's worth a dollar and it will always buy, as much as it bought us yesterday. That is not true with a whole bunch of different caveats, and I'll get into two of them, two big ones. And this is also goes into the minimum wage argument. Now, I'm not going to say pro or con minimum wage. I'm just going to say that basically the whole system's going down in a fast clip, while the minimum wage argument, goes on and on and on. So, okay, where do we dig in here? First off, it's important to understand that inflation is at 10%. Now, I realize the Federal Reserve says it's at 2%, but that's just a lie. That's just an outright bald lie. It's a very naked lie, actually. And those who go and do the shopping for a family, you go to the grocery store, you go to the hardware store, you buy, all the things that you need. The only exception to this, once again, is textiles or clothing, and electronics, which has been kept very low at roughly 2%. This is like virtually everything we get from China. We get other things from China, but that doesn't include our groceries. So by far and large, most of our groceries are from the United States, Mexico, or Canada. So basically, let's go ahead and delve into it right there at that point. So minimum wage has been slowly going up, very slowly, but not fast enough to keep up with inflation. And now this is not just minimum wage, this will also include salaries. So, basically it's very, very simple to understand that you're getting maybe a 2 or 3% pay increase per year with your job. Now, by the way, this is an aggregate. Some people get more than that, but most people get less than that, actually. For instance, those on Social Security. Because that's that 2% number that the Federal Reserve keeps saying, 2%. Well, the federal government goes, oh, great, great. So we only have to increase Social Security by 2%, to keep up with the cost of living. People on Social Security are feeling the sting harder than anyone else, but I will tell you that the middle class are feeling it as well. And this is because as inflation, keeps going along at a 10% clip, roughly, in 9.5, 10, I meant, let's not mince words here. Let's just even it out to 10 so it makes the math easier. And at the same time, basically your wage increases at your job are at 2 to 3% per year. Well, the math is actually really easy. And let's just say that inflation is going up 3 times faster. than your wage is. So it's very easy to see that in a very short period of time, I mean, within 5 years, you definitely know something's wrong. You should have been able to afford more. You used to be able to buy more. And by the way, this is something that my wife and I even had problems understanding about 10 years ago until, actually I started following John Williams at Shadow Stats. We used to buy more with the amount of money, with our budget. We used to be able to buy more things, more groceries, but gasoline plays a big role in this as well. And but then again, that's not included in inflation numbers or CPI from the Federal Reserve. So that's the nominal confusion right there, gang, is that the dollar is losing value faster than most people really understand. And this is why the middle class is shrinking in numbers. They're starting to join the ranks of the lower classes. Now, I'm doing this because there is massive confusion on that level. And people don't understand why it's happening. They don't get it. They're like, my gosh, we used to go so much further. They're starting to cut things off their budget. No more Netflix. We have to shut down, this. We have to shut down, subscription service. We got to stop going to the gym. Yet the amount of money they're getting is gone up. Yet they still can't afford these things. Well, it's because everything's gone up. Cost of medicine, that's a big one right there. The cost of buying a new vehicle. I mean, if you'd have to be dead not to see how much vehicles have gone up in the last 10 years. This is very obvious. We're talking about a 100% increase almost on vehicles since 2008 when they got bailed out. We bailed them out, and then they rewarded us with cars that were twice the price. So that didn't work out too well for us at all. And not to mention the fact that they cut production of vehicles. So, basically CEOs and the like are actually making more money after this. I mean, there's just no way for the consumer to win. So, I don't want to belabor the point, but to me it's so easy to see. If any of you have questions about nominal confusion, please, and by the way, I'm borrowing this term from Lynette Zhang at ITM Trading, because I never had a term for it before. I just called it inflation. But it's so much more than that with nominal confusion. It's literally thinking that a dollar is still worth a dollar. It's worth the same amount it was yesterday. It'll be worth the same amount tomorrow. And that's what the nominal confusion is, because it was worth more yesterday and it's going to be worth less tomorrow. And that's where the nominal confusion actually begins and ends. We have a great graphic that we use in our Discord group that shows a grocery cart and how many groceries you could get with $20 from 1960 up to today. And that's a really good way, a great visual to show what $20 buys you and how little you get now versus literally 50 years ago. And that's because of inflation and not because of nominal confusion. It's because of inflation. Nominal confusion is just a term used to express how people don't understand how the value of the dollar has gone down. But these Uber folks and these Lyft folks are basically not making enough money to survive, and everyone knows it. I mean, they're doing a strike. Well, the Lyft folks did a strike too, and it was completely ineffective. And I don't even care what Jeremy Corbyn says in his tweet about CEOs making so much money while their drivers are making so little. I mean, that happens in every corporation. I mean, just look at Amazon. Bezos is the richest man in the world. He probably will end up being the first trillionaire once we go into hyperinflation. Well, actually, that'll be the Rothschilds. I believe the Rothschilds are actually already trillionaires, and so is the royal family in England. I can't prove that, but I strongly suspect it. It's difficult to keep tabs on how much money those two entities are worth, the Rothschild family and the royal family. But they're worth a lot, and it's way more. I mean, Bezos is a pimple, compared to what they own. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, is nominal confusion. In fact, I'm going to, title the video that. If any of you have any questions, please put them down below, and I'll try to address them in future videos. But it is important for people to understand, because I even have a problem with family members. Like, for instance, I'm not going to say who, but I have a family member that really has a hard time understanding why minimum wage increases are absolutely necessary. To them, they think that it's, once again, it's just people who don't have skills that are just wanting more money. And it doesn't quite work that way, because we're talking about actually making a living wage and keeping up with inflation. And so that's kind of, where the confusion, I think, lies in that. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the minimum wage argument, because there's actually a really good argument to take away the minimum wage altogether and let the businesses pay, basically what the people are worth. That's a kind of a libertarian slash anarchy argument. However, it does go into the lower people, the less money people make, the more government services they're going to require. They're going to need food stamps, or EBT, whatever you call it now. They're going to need energy assistance. They're going to need straight welfare, maybe rental assistance, rent assistance, energy assistance, every kind of assistance that you could possibly get. That's what they're getting when they literally are making $3 an hour. They're literally working a job. They're the working poor, and then they're also getting assistance at the same time. And this is what used to be called the Walmart economy, or the Walmart model. And I can't remember the actual politician that coined it that, but I have a lot of respect for people who calling something like this what it is. Walmart pays their people very, very little, and at the same time, they actually encourage their employees to go in for welfare services. So basically, Walmart is subsidized by the federal government. And if you don't understand that concept, let me know in the comment section, and I'll do, more videos based on, the government subsidizing large businesses that simply don't pay enough, for their people to survive. Okay, but I think I'll wrap it up there, and I just wanted to get a couple of concepts across. But Uber drivers going on strike one day ahead of giant IPO. That's another thing too. Why all the IPOs coming out very suddenly in the last 2 months? Just a whole slew of them came out, and then no one was doing it. Literally, I would say I'd almost go to November or October of last year, but suddenly all these IPOs are coming out at the same time. That strikes me as a little odd as well. That they need to definitely get a slice of the pie before the pie gets sliced up more thinly, or actually as that's happening in real time right now. Um, we're watching the stock market. We know those numbers are fake, so we don't care about the numbers. What we're watching is the up and down action. That's what's interesting. And also too, the bond yield curve inversion is getting closer to spreading past the 10-year. So we keep watching that. That's something that's not being talked about anymore because everyone's talked out about it. But once we hit the 20-year, and it goes from like the 1 month to the 20-year yield, I will certainly let you guys know. But it is creeping in that direction. Okay, that's about it for now. I thank you all for actually taking a few minutes to listen to Truth, Money, and Freedom. We appreciate you guys very much. Have a great day, and God bless you all.